Hello, everyone, and welcome to the third edition of Sports Talk Weekly. I'm your host, Chris Jester, and joined this week we have a couple returning members and one new member. First, we have, making his third appearance on the show, Craig Kellerman. Craig, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm having a decent day. The weather is a lot better in Indiana now than it's been. There's no snow on my stairs, and I love that. Also, rejoining us from last week, we have Josh Gomez. Josh, how are you doing?
Pretty good here. What about you? Just besides the rainstorm from hell going on right now.
Pacific Northwest life.
Yeah, you know.
And making his debut on Sports Talk Weekly, we have Manny Garcia. Manny, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. 70 degrees.
Uh-huh. Fucking Floridians.
Man, bro.
Well, we have a decent show for you guys tonight. We got some NBA trade talk going on. We got a disappointing situation with NFL running back Ray Rice and an altercation with his girlfriend at a Las Vegas casino, and a few other things to talk about. Let's just jump into the NBA trade talk. The only really big trade that happened this week, the Indiana Pacers sent Danny Granger to the Philadelphia 76ers for Evan Turner. That's the main components of the trade. There were some picks and stuff like that involved in the trade. This is a good move for the Pacers. Turner's a really good young player. He's having a breakout year. He's got 2 years left on his contract, and he's going to be a really big piece of their rotation. And then for the Sixers, ironically, they're actually going to, it seems like the plan is to buy out Danny Granger's $14 million contract to give themselves some more cap room. And then there are numerous teams being rumored to be interested in Granger, including the Miami Heat, which I'm sure the Pacers is the last thing the Pacers want is for Granger to go to the Heat. So we'll start with the Heat fan on the panel. Manny, what do you think about the Granger for Turner trade, and what do you think Turner will mean to the Pacers rotation, and do you see the Granger getting bought out, and if you do, chances he goes to Miami or any other team?
Well, I think it's a brilliant move for the Pacers, like everything they've done past few years. It helps them. Basically, they can decide if they want to keep Lance Stevenson or not for the next year, for the next free agency. They can decide whether they want him or not. Like, they can let him walk because they have Evan Turner, basically.
Mm-hmm. What about, do you think Granger will end up with another team? You think the Sixers will buy him out?
I mean, if they're being cheap, and they probably will buy him out. I don't know if the Heat will get him. They'll probably get outbid. But it'd be interesting to see.
Do you have any potential locations you could see him at if not Miami?
Really, just any playoff team would love to have a score like that.
Right. Okay, Josh, what do you think? Any thoughts on Granger for Turner? What it means for the Pacers? Do you see Granger going anywhere else?
I honestly, right now, I don't. But just like it kind of, because I mean, there's that theory that the Sixers are tanking, and since they traded our... What was that?
They're absolutely tanking.
Yeah, I mean, when you trade your best player, I think he was having a career. I think he's averaging right around 17 points a game, and then Danny Granger, I think, just since his knee injuries, he's just kind of, and then he just kind of got. I think Paul George has kind of just taken over that team. Indiana has like the number one scorer on that team, and it's just, and then there's like the players and picks and whatnot. But it just sounded to me that the Pacers were just trying to dump cap room.
Yeah, I've been saying as soon as Paul George broke out, I was like, there's no way Granger remains a member of the Pacers. It's like he gets healthy and like all these dreams of him being a part of the rotation come the playoffs. I'm like, no way they keep $14 million on the books if they don't have to.
Yeah, no way. Then I just looked up his stats. He's averaging 8.3 points per game and 35.9% shooting for $14 million.
Damn.
Yeah, he's not getting enough minutes like he used to. He's not the star on the team anymore, so there's no reason you can justify paying all that money for him to have 8 points a game.
Yeah, I mean, I could do that for $100 a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, hold my beer.
They paid him enough money to buy his own Batcave.
Yeah.
I'm not making that up.
No, it's true. Craig, what do you think?
I don't know, man. I honestly, I think just pushing him away. Like you said, he's making way too much money just to stay there for 8 minutes, a couple points here and there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely a good move on the Pacers' part. He was absolutely going away. Evan Turner is a really solid player. He was the number 2 draft pick the year John Wall went number 1, and he struggled a bit his first few years in the league. He's really coming into his own. This was the most the Sixers were ever going to get out of him, and they're clearly tanking. They made another trade. They traded Andre Miller a couple of years ago. They traded they traded for Nerlens Noel this year. They're just dumping all their cap and trying to get multiple picks. They have like 4 first and second round picks in the draft next year.
And if anyone's interested, I just looked up the details of the trade. The Pacers traded Danny Granger to the Sixers for Evan Turner and forward Lavoy Allen, and then Philly also acquired a future second round pick yeah, looks like that was it.
So 2 second rounders and 2 first rounders in the draft coming up. I mean, the second rounders may not amount to anything. Sometimes they do, but the 2 first round picks could be really helpful in rebuilding the team.
Especially in a draft like this where they're saying it could be one of those it could be a potential league changing draft like that before draft was.
Yeah, definitely. If you guys have any thoughts you want to call into the show, call in at 760-512-7247. Let us know what you guys think. If you want to talk some NBA, we got some other stuff we want to go over. One of the hot topics is the NFL free agency around this time of year. We don't have much else to look forward to. The combine and the draft. It's nice if you're really obsessed and you really want to look into like all the numbers of all the college players. For the most part, all us NFL fans have to look forward to right now until the season starts again is the off season. And 2 of the really big name free agents, the 2 biggest name wide receivers that are going to be available are Eric Decker and Riley Cooper. And in some circles, people seem to think that Cooper and Decker are going to to acquire number 1 receiver money from a desperate enough team. So one of the things I wanted to talk about is if anyone thinks those guys are worth number 1 receiver money, where it's the best situation for them, the teams they're on now or a new team. I'm going to start with Josh. Josh, what do you think? Do you think Decker and Cooper are number 1 receivers? And where do you think the best fit for them is?
I would first off just say that Cooper, he isn't. He's a good number 2 or 3 receiver on most teams. The role he played this year with Philly, I think is as good as he's going to be. And I mean, I think he'd be perfect. With a team like Philly, where there's just basically a spread it out offense. But with Eric Decker, he's kind of interesting to me because I'd say he's not Calvin Johnson, Demaryius Thomas. He's not one of those elite receivers, but he's in, I think, that Roddy White category where put him on there's probably I can think 20, 25 teams where he'd be the number 1 receiver on, but he's better suited. I think he's best suited with where he's at right now in Denver, where he could just kind of, where Demaryius Thomas he's gonna draw the double teams and Wes Welker's gonna do his thing in the slot, and then he just can just dominate. But if he go to a team like, say, the Raiders, who everyone who they're saying could be a big player for a lot of the number 1 receivers, I think just with him commanding all that attention, I just don't think he'd be able to produce and succeed the way people would expect him to.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay, Craig, what do you think? Decker and Cooper, number 1 receiver or no?
Oh, man. Okay. I would say Decker more so than Cooper, but, just because he had an incredible season with the Broncos. But yeah, I mean, when you say number 1 money, I mean both these guys make about $500,000 a year. I mean, is that the best receiver money that they could get, or you think they're going to make more?
No, that's why they're going for that big money. They're going for that couple mil.
And there was that report before the Super Bowl where I think Denver said basically that they think Decker's the number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I don't know who would pick them up to be the Broncos are probably the best team for him to be on right now. I mean, I don't know where he would go to make more money.
Yeah, I think Decker's best fit for himself as far as a player is going to thrive in an offense and put up numbers is Denver. They have all of the weapons around him to take away coverage. They have a good running game. They have one of the best quarterbacks of all time. He is going to produce numbers in Denver. He's not staying. Absolutely, 100%. Next year, Demaryius Thomas and Julius Thomas have contract years. The Broncos have to worry about re-signing them, not Eric Decker.
Yeah.
Right.
So Eric Decker is going to walk. He said, "It's not about the money. I'd love to be a Bronco." And then he ended the sentence with, "But I got to take care of my family."
Yeah.
So he's going to chase the money, and they're not going to pay him.
I just have a feeling though with Decker, he's gonna do something similar to what Wes Welker did, where he's not gonna. I would, unless like a team like I mentioned, like Oakland or Cleveland, just they basically offer him Mike Wallace money, he's gonna go. But I don't think he's gonna go from Peyton. Like I can see him going from like maybe just a random team, like from Peyton to maybe Eli Manning, or he's not gonna go to some team that's in a complete rebuild mode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Manny, what do you think about Decker and Cooper? Do you think they're number one receivers? Where do you think they fit in?
I think any team that needs a receiver really badly couldn't go wrong with either of the two of them, but I don't think they're number one. Like, you should throw all the money at them. It's just, that's what's available.
Mm-hmm.
So
they're not anywhere near a Calvin Johnson or a Julio Jones type receiver. Neither of them are game-breaking speed, big guys, nothing. Decker does really well in an offense with lots of talent around him, so he's kind of an unknown. Cooper is a really good deep threat receiver, but he's very one-dimensional.
I think that Eric Decker will have more of a market just because he's not necessarily a big-bodied receiver, but I think he'd be perfect for like not even necessarily an offense like Denver, but just like a West Coast offense where it's just quick throws and get the ball and just let him make moves after the catch, which he can do.
Right, he'll never be like the workhorse of any team.
Mm-hmm.
There's another guy, actually another Eagles receiver who's going to be a free agent, Jeremy Maclin as well. It doesn't look like the Eagles are going to be able to re-sign him either. I think if anything, they're going to re-sign Cooper and lose Maclin.
Yeah.
So does anyone think there's a better fit for Maclin? He's been kind of banged up the last couple of years. He's a really good possession receiver, but he was really highly touted coming out of college. I think he would fit in really well, and it's going to sound biased. He'd fit in really well in like Minnesota, where like we have like the type of offense that Norv Turner wants to run. Maclin would do really well in. You need that possession guy over the middle to get the first downs, but Turner likes to go downfield too. So I don't know. He wouldn't be able to be the number one receiver in Minnesota. Hopefully that would be Cordarrelle Patterson, but I don't know. Right now, anywhere else? Maybe Baltimore. Baltimore could really use someone to help out Torrey Smith too. I don't know if they have the cap room, but I don't think Maclin's going to command a lot of money, so I don't think that's a big deal.
Especially since
he's got to prove he can stay healthy.
Yeah, and he injured his ACL in OTAs last year. So if anything, he's going to get like some 1 year, $4 million prove-it deal somewhere.
So any other thoughts anywhere besides Baltimore, Minnesota, whatever that you guys think Maclin may go? Anybody?
Maybe a team like New England that kind of this is going to sound like a broken record, but they need a big body.
Mm-hmm.
They do.
They just got those young receivers right now. Nobody helping out Tom Brady when Gronk goes down.
And they have a bunch of midgets.
Yeah. This is true.
Oh my God.
5 foot nothings running down the field in the NFL. What?
Yeah, the Patriots definitely need some help on the offense, but if they got a decent, solid wideout, I think they would be like a championship team more so than they were.
Mm-hmm.
And even without it, they did.
They did well. They did well, considering.
But that, I think, is just the Tom Brady factor, where I think we could be playing wide receiver and they could be making the playoffs. So.
Okay, well, going from teams that need wide receivers to a team that does not need wide receivers, the Cleveland Browns. I know it sounds weird to say the Cleveland Browns don't need something, but they're pretty loaded at receiver. Josh Gordon is a friggin' stud. Anyway, the Cleveland Browns actually flirted with the idea of trading multiple draft picks, as they have a ton of this year, for Jim Harbaugh from the 49ers. And the 49ers actually considered making this trade. The only reason they didn't is because Harbaugh didn't want to leave. I mean, they've made the NFC Championship the last 3 years in a row with Harbaugh at the helm. They made the Super Bowl last year. I'm shocked they even considered trading the guy who turned that team around. And, it's unfathomable. The Browns weren't playing around, and it doesn't seem like they have a lot of faith in their head coach that they have currently. We got a comment on the Facebook page from James Weineman. He said he sees why the Browns would do that. They have a lot of talent on the roster, but can't do shit with it with bad coaching. And that's a very good point. The Browns have plenty of talent on the team to build around, but there's no one at the reins that that has control over everything. That can help push them forward. They're always resetting. We talked about that last week.
And one thing they do have is $38 million to spend.
We have a caller on the line. I'm gonna go to the caller really quick, guys. Hold on. Caller, how you doing? Caller?
Bueller?
I don't know.
All right, we'll try to get him in. I guess we'll just continue without him.
All right, yeah, go ahead and say who, Craig, I think you were talking.
Yeah, so, the Browns, right? Okay. Yeah, like we were talking about this last week, like you said, they have way too many like, you gotta be at the edge of your seat if you're a head coach in the NFL, because, man, anything could happen. Like, I'm sure Harbaugh probably didn't even think that he was gonna leave the 49ers. Like, even had the thought that he would have been able to be traded, but, that's what happens.
Mm-hmm. Caller, if you want to try to call back in, caller, we'll try to get to you. Can't really, you're not coming in very well, so. Manny.
Yeah, like I was saying, like first reaction to hearing about that trade, I'm like, doesn't Harbaugh have a choice? Like, if they give him,
yeah.
Yeah, you're going to Cleveland, buddy. See ya.
Back in shit, man.
But
people try to leave there.
Yeah, it would suck going from, like, a team that's really awesome to a team that kind of sucks.
You're leaving it the best team, arguably, in the NFL for the Cleveland Browns. So, sorry, but we want the picks.
And the only reason he took, like, the 49ers job coming out of Stanford, so he wouldn't have to move very far.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, they're, like, forcing him to move to freaking Ohio. Sorry, everyone in Ohio. But, yeah, that's just... I mean, sorry you have to live in Ohio, not sorry I said that.
But the Browns, they really need, like, a solid coach. They really, really need a solid coach.
Oh, yeah. They need someone to turn those boys into men and help push that team forward, yeah.
And they need a solid, like, 3-4 seasons to, steamroll it out, too.
All right, we're going to try to go back to the caller. He called back.
Already.
Caller, Joey Hurt, can we hear you?
Hello, good night, gentlemen.
Hey, how are you doing, man?
Very good. Yourself?
Good. Thanks for calling to the show.
Hi, okay, I see your webpage, and I don't see NCAA basketball listed at all, but I was wondering if you mind if I talk about that a little bit.
Oh, no, absolutely. Feel free. Yeah, what do you got in your mind?
Well, I witnessed an amazing game, the second amazing game between Syracuse and Duke, and it looked like a promising rivalry for the future.
That's awesome. How good was the game? Was it really close?
Like the first game, it come down to the end, the few minutes. Except for this time, the coach get ejected for coming onto the court and yelling at the refs. Bonheim from Syracuse. So I'm really excited when March comes and you got the tournament and the conference tournaments, like ACC and etc. Yeah. And then you got the big, the championship tournament. I'm looking forward to that.
Oh yeah, March Madness is insane. Really, one of the more exciting times in the year for sports. It's really hard for me to get into the regular season college basketball stuff because March Madness is where it's at. You got all this other stuff going on with sports now, and but when March Madness starts, I'm gonna be enjoying me quite a bit of college basketball. Are you a Syracuse or a Duke fan, or you just love basketball and you wanted to watch the games?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not loyal to any team. I like whoever's good and they're in a conference that has a big rivalries and things. Then I enjoy watching them. So I'm
just a lover
not
of the
necessarily.
Game.
Yeah. So I guess you could say that. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to more of the ACC, and they're probably the most competitive conference. The teams in there, either one can beat the next one on any given day. Such as on Thursday, North Carolina beat Duke, And right now, with Syracuse losing 2 in a row, Virginia actually is in place to win the whole conference, but they're not even ranked nationally.
If I can interject, the interesting thing too.
Say that one more time, please.
Go ahead, Josh.
I was going to interject how you mentioned North Carolina. North Carolina is a team that kind of puzzles me. They can beat Duke, they can beat Louisville, but they lose to teams like UAB. They're the perfect example of an NCAA basketball team, a team in the NCAA tournament where they can go to the Final Four or they can lose in the first round by 40 points.
There might be a lot of IU. IU had a lot of games like that this year too. They would beat some teams they're not supposed to. You wouldn't think they'd beat, and they'd drop one to a.
Like North Carolina this year. They beat like 5 or 6 top 25 teams, and I think when they beat Michigan State, they were number 1 in the country, and then they go off the very next night and lose to some mid-major.
Right, and the thing about North Carolina, they drop off for about 5 years, and then they come back and win the national title.
Yeah, because what it is with them is it was just they had that cycle where they just have like a group of freshmen that was riding them through, and then by the time they're seniors, they're among the better. They're some of the best players in the country, and then they graduate all those guys and start over. Because I remember after Ty Loss and Tyler Hansborough left, they brought in that next group, and they were an NIT team for 2 years, and then they were making Sweet 16s again, and they graduated, and then it's just that's with all the top. I think that's true with most of the top programs.
Yeah, there's something to be said for continuity when you get your guys in together all in the same class, and they get 4 years to play together, and then that last year or two, they've developed the chemistry together, and they clearly had the talent if they're going to a program.
And then there was, I remember, it was a few years ago when I think it was the year with Kevin Love, all the one and dones, and Roy Williams basically said in so many words he doesn't even recruit one and done players just because he prefers continuity over some a splash player.
Right on. Because the splash players are just going to go directly to the NBA, and you're not going to have them on the team. I mean, if you can, but I mean, is he really going to be like, oh no, I'm not even going to bother with Kevin Love? Like,
yeah, I think what he means though is just that he's not going to put I think what he meant by it though is that he's going to recruit them. Obviously, when you're Roy Williams or Coach K or Jim Boeheim or top level, you're going to recruit these guys, but you're going to put more of your because you only. I'm not 100% sure on how exactly recruiting works, but I'm pretty sure you only get allotted an X amount of hours. You can talk to these guys per week or whatever. They're going to put more effort into the guys. They think they're going to be there for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, that makes sense. If you can get that star piece like a Kevin Love kind of guy with a group of guys, you just rack up the titles. That's. But like you said, you can't dedicate too much of your time to someone you don't isn't going to be there that long anyway. Yeah. You want years of progress instead of one.
Yeah.
Joey, thanks for calling on the show. You got anything else you want to add, man?
One last thing, and this is a thesis I've been working on, and perhaps you gentlemen can help. Now, it begins with a hypothetical. Let's say a gentleman very good in high school, he comes out and goes straight to the NBA, like a LeBron James or something, and he signs, his first few years of contract. Let's say 2, but it doesn't work out. He becomes a bust. Can he then get recruited by a college and go into NCAA after he's already been in NBA?
No, he can't, because once you sign any contract or endorsement deal, you forfeit your amateur status. That was, or when you hire, because then you hire an agent, you're not an amateur anymore. That was the big thing way back in whenever with Chris Carter, why he wasn't eligible at Ohio State for his seniors, because he signed on with an agent when he was a junior.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, if you're already a pro athlete or you've been a pro athlete, you forego the ability to become a college athlete. Yeah. You'd be gaining unfair experience over other college players. You already got to play, even if you weren't that good, you got to play with the best in the world. So that's kind of why they have that rule in place where you have to play at least 1 year, because that way you make sure you're mature enough and developed enough to play in the NBA. Yeah. If you try to go in after high school and you blow it.
And I know the amateurism thing, that's a big debate with a lot of Olympic athletes.
Okay. Well, gentlemen, thanks for clearing that up.
No problem, man. You're welcome to stay on the call, stay on and listen and enjoy the show. And if you want to call in again next week and talk about more college basketball, we'll be here, man.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for calling in, man. Have a good night.
You too. Thank you.
All right. Well, that's nice not to have a non-troll caller for once.
Yeah, appreciate that, buddy.
All right. So we were talking about the Jim Harbaugh, potential trade thing that didn't end up happening.
But just to interject about that, I actually remember I found it kind of interesting too that Ian Rappaport, who was like kind of looked at by me and by a lot of people as one of like the three wise men when it comes to like stuff going on in the NFL, and he basically said in so many words that it wasn't true. Like it wasn't as close to actually happening as Pro Football Talk made it out to be, and they kind of got into like a little Twitter spat about it yesterday.
Yeah,
Twitter spat.
And Pro Football Talk. This is also interesting about that. Like I love Pro Football Talk, the website, but the Twitter. I remember it got into a Twitter war with, I think it was like the Jaguars mascot a while back, and lost. So there's that.
So I've seen the Jaguars mascot, man. How? You just put up a picture of the Jaguars mascot on your tweets and you win.
Yeah, man. Damn. So it was kind of interesting, and then
yeah. A lot of times these rumors get blown out of proportion and stuff, and sometimes they're more legit than you think, and they just try to diffuse it once it gets blown dead.
I'm not saying either way. I just want to know like how close was it to actually happening, and also I'd be kind of curious what was the offer, because I mean.
Both
Cleveland
those
has
first-round picks at least, and probably a first-rounder next year, too.
Yeah, because I think that Cleveland has 3 picks in the top 35. I have to imagine at least 1 or 2 of those were involved.
Oh, yeah. I'm imagining both our first-round picks this year and a first-round pick next year for a friggin' coach who went to the NFC title game 3 years ago.
You can make a case for him being the best coach in the league right now.
Arguably he is. And honestly, I can't imagine the 49ers even really consider this trade.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way, when you're arguably the best team in the NFL, I would argue they have the best roster overall in the NFL.
Yeah.
Why would you ruin that for picks? You don't need picks as badly as other teams.
I think I saw they have 11 picks in the draft anyway.
Yeah, they're built. They're missing a few things here and there like everybody else is. But they don't need to go do a drastic move like trade their head coach for 3 picks.
I would imagine though that just when it comes to just this coming out I think it could lead to a potential, just some potential awkwardness when it comes to an extension with Harbaugh, because I think he's going into, 4th year of his contract. That I'd imagine is probably the first contract he signed back in 2011 has to be coming up on, expiration. So he could probably use this to levy for more money if he wanted to.
They should pay him whatever the fuck he wants, honestly.
If they basically give him give him a blank check if you have to, because I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think coach contracts count towards the salary cap. Could be wrong, but
he made the 49ers relevant for the first time in 20 years. They need to pay the guy.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else have anything they want to add?
I have money to pay for more khaki pants.
Well, it proves his status, Like, he could go anywhere pretty much that he wants to now, so.
One thing I'll say, though, I'm kind of glad it didn't happen, because I would not want to have to hear about Harbaugh twice a year.
Oh God, yeah. Then the same division.
Yeah, it would have been terrible.
I have something to add.
Yeah.
The Jaguars mascot has green spots.
Hey, something has to be ferocious about the Jaguars,
No. Tony the Tiger could totally kick his ass.
I wish the Jaguars mascot followed the show. Maybe he does. I don't know. Possible.
The cheetah from Cheetos could kick his ass.
Really?
Yeah, seriously.
Okay. It's interesting.
That's an interesting hypothetical there.
I'm glad Manny had something relevant to add to the conversation.
Well, football, right?
Mascot wars.
Yeah.
They're great.
That'll be a special. Oh, no. You're done. I'm done. Get out.
Every NFL mascot, in a battle royal.
All right, we're gonna move on. People are clearly done talking about the Browns. Every time we try to talk about the Browns, we just get bored.
They're the Browns. Yeah. I mean, Browns fans don't want to talk about the Browns.
Even in the most boring team name. Brown.
The color.
Yeah.
The color of shit.
I want to know what the origin of the team name is.
It's from
I think the owner.
Paul Brown.
Probably.
Yeah. Okay, so, well, Jim Harbaugh almost got stuck in the same division as his brother, and I wonder how John Harbaugh is feeling about the fact that he may need a new running back next year. really unfortunate incident over the weekend.
Decker.
Or over the week. Ray Rice, again, apparently he got into an altercation with his girlfriend, knocked her unconscious, then dragged her out of an elevator at a casino hotel. That's just really disappointing. Not as disappointing as what Darren Sharper did, but disappointing nonetheless. Allegedly. It's always allegedly.
Well, didn't Darren Sharper get two women like that?
There's like 20 women.
7. Allegedly. You're innocent until proven guilty in this country.
Allegedly, this has been going on for 7 years.
All right, Josh, we're going to start with you. What do you think about the Ray Rice situation?
Yeah, first of all, I'm just going to say, just before, everyone gets kind of on their, high horse about, Ray Rice being a piece of crap and this, that, I'm just going to wait until all the details and the police reports come out, because just based on the few articles and different little news briefs I read about it, it was, there was mutual fighting between the two of them. Just he happened to win.
I'd hope so.
I'd hope so.
Or he'd be looking for a job for a different reason.
Yeah, and then also when it comes to like just the domestic violence stuff, I just this is gonna sound really negative and very sexist, but I get sick and tired of it just because you hear all this. And I apologize if I offend anyone, but there's been this huge feminine movement in the last 25 years or so that women can do anything men can do, and women are equal in everything. But as soon as a man lays his hands on a woman, every feminist changes their tune entirely. I get tired of it.
Yeah, I think I agree and disagree with some of that. I think we don't know entirely what was happening with him. Was she like beating the shit out of him and like he didn't want to do anything, and like I don't know, like some women are crazy, because I mean this is largely hypothetical, but just say it comes out that she just ends up beating the crap out of him for 10 minutes. He doesn't do anything, and doesn't react and files a police report. Then the negative press is even worse.
But he's a big ass football player. Come on, how much is he's gonna overpower the crap out of her. I mean,
he is jacked. If you,
he should not be hitting her. He should not be pulling he was throwing her around. Like
all he would have to do is hold her down. There's no way she could break out of it.
Yeah, but like I said, I'm gonna wait until all the details come out, just because. I mean, we weren't in it was like in a hotel room. I wasn't there, so I don't know what the hell happened.
Well, I was, so
maybe she didn't make him a sandwich.
Aw, Greg.
What?
That's adorable. You took all the hate off of Josh that all the feminists were going to give him, and they put it onto yourself.
Yeah, I'll take it on.
That's sweet.
And we're all on the same show.
Greg, do you have? You say you're clearly passionate about this. Do you have anything to say?
Well, no. I mean, like I said, like he should not have hit her at all. I mean, come on. First of all, when you're a public figure, you got to know, like. This was in a casino, right? Like, there's cameras all around. Like, you gotta keep that shit concealed at least. Like,
they tried.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
There's cameras, man. It's a casino.
Yeah, according to the article in the New York Daily News, they were both arrested and charged with domestic violence, simple assault after the altercation. Whatever the hell that means.
Yeah, that means they were fighting. There was a fight going on. And Ray Rice won, and
I give the girl props for just trying to fight with an NFL running back.
And maybe Harbaugh's secretly happy that Ray Rice had this happen to him because they can get a new running game now.
Guys.
Maybe they wouldn't have maybe they wouldn't have been fighting if he would have averaged more than 3 yards a carry.
I know what it is. She drafted Ray Rice to her fantasy team.
I'd want to kick his ass too.
She's still mad about it.
Wouldn't you be?
The guy in our league had Ray Rice. He also had Eddie Lacy, so he had no room to bitch. And then I took him away.
Well,
that's another story.
They have a kid together too, right?
Ray Rice and Eddie Lacy?
Yeah.
I thought Michael Sam was the first gay player.
Hey, you don't have to be gay to adopt a child with another man. Come on, though. Yeah. All right. Manny, do you have any thoughts on the Ray Rice situation besides the bitch deserved it or whatever Josh said?
All right. Well, thanks for first of all, I'm I'm gonna take the easy position and say that you shouldn't hit women.
Right.
take the easy argument.
Manny wants to get laid again one day. He doesn't want to throw himself under the bus.
Yeah, I mean, there's exceptions, but even still, you know what I mean. But anyway, well, what I'm noticing here is like I'm looking at the video of him dragging her out the elevator. I notice he's just dragging her out like he's not some sort of NFL running back. Like can't just carry her.
Yeah.
Which explains why he has like 2.9 to carry.
He must have been afraid he might fumble her or something. I don't know.
Yeah, or maybe like it's in his contract to not pick stuff up like in the off season.
Probably.
Yeah, but some of the stuff that maybe his agent told him not to exert himself, because contractual.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't want to mess up whatever's going on with you anymore, right?
Because I mean, because these agents basically own these players.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to say for the first time, this has never been said about a Ravens player before. Ray didn't do it. He didn't see nothing. Okay.
It wasn't me.
I wonder if he talked to another Ray about just what not to say.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. It's always allegedly with the pro sports.
Yeah, it's my favorite word. Yeah.
Like Kobe allegedly did what he did to that girl. All right. Paul George allegedly paid that stripper to have an abortion.
And it's still proven guilty.
Exactly.
America.
Just ask Casey Anthony.
Oh, that still makes me mad.
Is paying some girl to have an abortion, is that like a hit? Like, is that like attempted murder?
I don't think abortion's considered murder because it's legal in some places. So
yeah, but then he's like a hitman if you think about it.
I guess if you want to look at it as cut and dry as possible without using it.
I'm sure he's the only athlete to ever do that.
Right. Oh no. Yeah. Totally. I mean, every other one was happy to have a child and support it and pay all their millions of dollars.
Yeah, I'm sure Jordan Cameron and Matt Leinart love having the same baby mama.
Oh, that's gross. Yeah. Jordan Cameron got a bust quarterback's sloppy seconds. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's Matt Leinart. How many women has Matt Leinart been with?
Oh yeah, that doesn't even count.
Well, I don't think it was Jordan Cameron. No, it was Blake Griffin. They both have kids with Jordan Cameron's sister. There we go.
Oh, okay. So Jordan Cameron didn't have a kid with his sister.
Not that I know of.
If he did, hopefully that child would go to the University of Kentucky. All right. Well, if you guys want to call in and talk about any of the randomness we've got going on here, the number is 760-512-7247. This is going to be a shorter episode than usual. There's not a lot to talk about this week, but anything you guys want to call in and talk about, we can. Just going to spitball here for a little bit. Anybody got anything? There's more NBA trades that happened. If you guys want to talk about them, the smaller ones. Andre Miller got traded from the Nuggets to the Wizards. I'm not high on that. Like, Andre Miller was a good player a couple years ago. He probably still is a good player. I don't know where he fits into the rotation with John Wall and Bradley Beal, though. I don't know if there's just enough time for him. He's averaging like 4 points a game or something this year. He's just I don't see why the Wizards make that move.
The Clippers traded Antoine Jameson to the Hawks.
And then he's getting waived right away. It's a cap exception trade. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The Bobcats are gonna waive Ben Gordon for the same reason.
The Bobcats should just waive existence.
Probably, dude. They're in the playoffs currently in the East. Okay.
Yeah, that's a playoff team right there.
In the Eastern Conference.
So are the Wizards.
So is my Little League baseball team.
I think I saw someone posted on Twitter that I think the Raptors were. They'd be like they're in the playoffs in the East, and they'd be like the 11th place team in the West.
Yeah, they're like the third best team in the East.
Yeah, top heavy, isn't it?
They're 23-13 since they traded Rudy Gay. Not surprising, because the Rudy Gay trade in the first place, trading for him, was the stupidest thing they've done in years. So, but yeah, that's good for them. DeMar DeRozan's a beast, just saying. But well, who else? Steve Blake got traded from the Lakers to, anybody know? I don't remember.
The Warriors.
Warriors, yeah, that's good. More 3-point shooters for them. That's nice.
Yeah, they're trying to get like what Jarek Jack used to bring them.
Mm-hmm. Spencer Hawes is a Cleveland Cavalier because Andrew Bynum's gone.
I'm sorry.
It's better than nothing. There aren't many good centers in the NBA. Spencer Hawes is pretty decent, honestly.
Yeah. And hey, Spencer Hawes was very vocal about bringing the Sonics back, so hooray for him.
Maybe they can make the Cavaliers into the Sonics and get them out of Cleveland.
And then LeBron might come back.
Yeah, maybe. The Sonics can make up for losing Durant by getting LeBron. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe.
And
they might let him make that Space Jam movie.
There you go.
Did you ever actually hear about like LeBron saying he wouldn't like rule out going back to Cleveland at the end of his career?
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I remember it was like last summer. I think I read something on ESPN, so I guess take the other grain of salt, where he said he wouldn't rule it out.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Cavs get 37-year-old LeBron.
I mean, if he's got the rings and the money and everything, and he just wants to try to win it in his hometown. Yeah.
Well, he'll have to do it in another 1 hour special, though.
The way LeBron played, so physical, I don't know.
Hello?
What else? The Kings are shutting down Jason Terry for the year. They just got him. Anybody?
Man, these drafts really aren't that great this season.
No, there was all these like Pau Gasol, like, oh, maybe he'll get traded. Rajon Rondo, maybe he'll get traded. No, we got Danny Granger. That's it.
Yeah. With I think Rajon Rondo, he got rumored to be going everywhere from I think it was the Rockets to the Yankees.
To the Yankees.
I would have really liked to see Rondo go to the Rockets. The Rockets are my favorite. Western Conference team.
They're
Rondo, Harden, and Dwight Howard would be amazing.
Like the Rondo trade rumors.
They didn't want to give up Chandler Parsons.
Yeah, like the Rondo trade rumors this year were like the Pau Gasol trade rumors last year.
Mm-hmm. I'm really surprised Pau Gasol didn't get moved. Honestly, the Lakers really could have used getting rid of that big number on their cap.
Yeah, but then the NBA might have cock-blocked them again.
Yeah. So yeah, Rondo's a little sure that the Celtics even considered trading him in the first place. A big surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Rondo's always pissed off at the Celtics.
He's just an angry person.
Yeah, he always looks angry. His big ass forehead. Oh God! What if Rondo calls into the show and yells at me now or makes fun of his big forehead? I'm scared.
Looks like an elf in that jersey.
He's a magnificent man.
You're a Celtics fan.
Lead screen.
That might be.
Note that they kept Rondo and not any of the other ones.
Yeah, well, all the other ones were like 96 years old.
This is true. Rondo's, when he's healthy, he's a really good player. Everyone like makes their list of top point guards, and why is Rondo never on them? The top 5 point guard things, like
I think
for a lot of Derek Williams, Derrick Rose, blah blah. And why is Rondo not? Rondo was a triple double machine. Like
I think part of the knock on Rajon Rondo is just for like kind of mentioned, like we kind of joked about it, but for most of before this year, he played with 3 future first ballot Hall of Famers.
Mm-hmm. And he can't shoot for shit. But
yeah, well,
that's it.
Point guards, like, I mean, Steve Nash was never a great shooter.
I mean, like, you got like Chris Paul, who's got an all-around perfect game. Like, he can shoot, he can defend, he can, everything. So he should be considered the best. But like, if Rondo had a shot, he'd be right up there with him. Like, I think that's the biggest thing. I don't think you can really hold against him that he played with other really great players, because lots of great teams are formed by great players all playing together. Yeah. It doesn't take away from Rondo that his teammates were all really good.
And then just when you watch Rondo, some of those passes he makes are just ridiculous.
They're amazing. He's probably the best passer in the league, honestly.
Yeah.
He's the best rebounding point guard too.
Mm-hmm.
But he just doesn't have the shot to make himself an elite point guard.
Yeah.
That'd be scary, Rondo with a shot.
Oh my God, yeah. Good thing the Celtics won't be relevant anytime soon. We won't have to worry about it.
Yeah. If he had a shot, you think he'd be less angry?
Probably.
He probably would.
I'd be less angry.
All right. Well, okay. How about NBA Finals predictions? What 2 teams do you think play it out? How many games does it go, and who wins? Josh. At this point in the season, this
So,
is very
I'll be
early,
realistic,
but
first of all.
okay.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
because right at this point in the season, I could
Too
say
early.
something crazy like the Kings and the Bobcats, and it was. But realistically, I would probably say Oklahoma City and Miami again.
Mm-hmm. If you said the Kings and the Bobcats, he has to drug test you. So.
Yeah, and then if that somehow if even becomes remotely possible, I'm going to Vegas.
Okay. So
Now, something interesting. Can the Bobcats make the second round?
No.
They
Well,
won't
what if
play
they're playing the Wizards?
They will play Indiana. They will get
Oh.
crushed.
Oh, they're great.
Yeah.
So can they make it to the 5 seed and then make the second round?
Probably not.
All they'd have to do is win like 3 more games, right?
I don't think they're good enough to beat Chicago or Toronto or Brooklyn in a 7-game series anyway. So, how many games do you think the Thunder and Heat goes if that's the finals, Josh?
I think they go 6.
6, and did the Heat take it or the Thunder?
I think Miami wins the 3rd straight.
All right. Go to the biased Heat fan from Florida and his 70-degree bullshit.
Haters gonna hate.
Manny, what do you got? What do you got for me?
I think actually the Heat going into the Pacers in the Western Conference Finals are going to be underdogs. Like it's going to be very difficult. Like they will need Dwayne Wade to be legendary once again, or else they'll lose.
They need Flash to come back.
Yeah, and as of late, he's been pretty good. And LeBron, obviously, that's best player in the league. That's what you get. That's what you need.
Yeah.
So I mean, I picked the Heat to win every series like the past 3 years, and I've been wrong once, so I'm gonna keep doing that. and out of the West, I'm not certain. Could be most likely the Thunder, but it could be the Rockets or the Spurs or really anybody like that. Like I really don't know who's gonna come out that West right now.
I hate to make a pun, but
it's really competitive in the West.
Yeah, I hate to make a pun here, but the Heat are hot.
Greg, who you got, man?
I'm agree with Manny. Heat and Pacers, they just show the most potential. But again, it's pretty early to tell. So
yeah. What about the West? Who you got out of the West?
Man, I don't even know.
Throw a dart.
Spurs, Thunder, Rockets, Clippers. Anybody?
Yeah,
Any of the above?
Spurs. Probably, yeah, I don't know, man.
They battle Father Time every year, and they still find a way.
They find a way. They'll get close at least.
Yeah, they'll get close playing the most boring brand of basketball on the planet.
But that's why, though.
Yeah.
I always root against the Spurs so far.
Yeah, and they were like, and think about that boring basketball. They were like 2 freak shots away from winning what was it, a 4th title, 5th title together. So it ain't broke.
And that was a great series too. Like they like you say, play boring, but that series was amazing.
I remember actually, I think it was LeBron said after Game 6 that when they saw them before Ray Allen made that 3, they actually saw them wheeling out the trophy and everything. For the Spurs.
Oh.
On the Heat's home floor.
Yeah, that's
well motivating.
And then there was those one people that left.
Oh yeah, all the Heat fans, the other ones.
Yeah, the ones that couldn't don't know who Tim Hardaway is.
Yeah, well, the ones that don't even know like who Michael Beasley was before like this year.
Right. Man, Ray Allen's ice cold.
Oh man,
You mean Jesus Shuttlesworth?
Yeah, Jesus saves, man.
All right, I think given the makeups of their current rosters, I think the Pacers have a lot more depth and talent up front than the Heat do. And like, I'm not one of those people who goes like, oh, the Heat, they're just not as good, Wade's old, whatever. Like, that's stupid. I definitely think it's extremely close. It could easily go either way.
Last year, I mean, didn't they go 7 games last year in the East?
Yeah.
So.
Indiana's got the home floor this year. It's going to be I sound biased, but I mean, I'm not a Pacer fan. I live in Indiana, but I'm not a Pacer fan.
Yeah. I mean,
it's going to be tough, but I think the Pacers have enough talent on the roster now. They got so many good players. Yeah. Bynum and Turner now too.
Mm-hmm.
They're so loaded.
It's pretty much consensus. I think those are the best 2 teams in the league right now.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And they both play in the East, and then the rest of the conference is freaking atrocious.
It was kind of like the AFC in the NFL this year.
That's fair, but I think the 2 best teams in the NFL were in the NFC.
Yeah, but I mean, just when it comes to the two top teams, and then just kind of
everybody else is garbage. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of just a cluster. You know what of.
West, I think the Thunder get back. If Westbrook stays healthy, that's a scary team. I am really close to saying Kevin Durant might be rivaling LeBron as best player in the league now. He's at least having the best season. I think if I have to pick, and the season ends today, I think Durant's the MVP. So you get the best player currently playing right now at the moment versus what I consider the best team in Indiana, Thunder Pacers, and that's a really tough one. I trust great players in great situations, and the Pacers are still a young team. So I think the Thunder having that finals experience, I would probably pick the Thunder over the Pacers and a really good long 7-game series.
Yeah.
I'd be optimistic for that, wanting it to be 7 games. You get 7 great games, but I think they're evenly matched enough where it could go 7.
The only question I would have about Oklahoma City is they don't have James Harden like they did when they went to the finals 2 years ago, and he basically got them there.
It's true. And he got his money, too, in Houston.
Yeah.
But you earned it.
Yeah, that's true.
How
And then also
scary is that? They had those 3 at the same time.
Yeah. And I mean, and the interesting thing, though, let's say about, we mentioned Kevin Durant. It's kind of interesting, too, because he basically no-showed in the finals 2 years ago, and it wasn't mentioned, but had that been LeBron.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but I think it just has to do with Kevin Durant. Basically, it's going to sound kind of bad, but he has, like, the clean-cut pretty boy, like, nice guy image. That has something to do with it, and he never did well at the decision.
That's just image. I mean, if he wins a title, that goes away.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as soon as he does. And all you have to do to win a title is keep playing how he's playing.
Yeah, I just think
all
it's kind of interesting with the media and a lot of the fans how there's a double standard when it comes to like players like Durant and LeBron.
Dude, if Ray Allen didn't make that shot in Game 6, right now, like we'd be talking about should we trade Dwayne Wade?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
Sports
That's
fans
one
get
shot.
a little crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the difference one shot makes?
Yep, you fucked up. You're out.
But they wouldn't actually do it. They just talk about it.
No.
Yeah, fans.
No,
like,
they're not retarded.
If I've learned anything on the internet, it's the internet, especially like social media, like Twitter and Facebook. They breed just the craziest sports fans.
Mm-hmm. They really do, and ESPN fuels those fires too.
Yeah,
like
how many on ESPN's Facebook? How many idiotic, LeBron versus Durant posts has ESPN not put out this year on Facebook?
Absolutely. Yeah, they antagonize the shit out of it.
Yeah, or Peyton Brady, or that sort of stuff. It's ridiculous.
It's the stuff they use to create hype and make people want to pay attention to the games. Like, you got to make hype. They put the interest there. Sometimes for some people, the game itself is not enough to make them want to watch it. You need a storyline,
Yeah. And that damn
needs a conflict.
I will say I was less excited for the Broncos and the Patriots as teams playing each other, and I was more excited for Peyton Manning and Tom Brady potentially the last time in the AFC Championship game.
Yeah,
like that storyline thing does help.
Yeah, you can blame Vince. You can thank Vince McMahon for all that.
I wonder what would happen if Tom Brady would have actually beat the Broncos there. Like if it would have been a much more interesting Super Bowl.
I also wonder if that would have happened, how much more or less would the word legacy have been brought up in the 2 weeks leading up to the Super Bowl?
Exactly.
I mean, like
probably more.
People would be blowing Brady so much more than they already do, and like they'd be just as viciously attacking Peyton Manning as they are now.
And the interesting thing when it comes to that too, it's kind of interesting too, just when it comes to just like the Peyton Manning Tom Brady thing, it's almost the point where you can't give one guy credit for doing anything without the fans of the other of like say you say something great about Peyton Manning, Tom Brady fans automatically assume you mean it's a slight on him.
Yeah,
it's like you can't just like I think they can go down as the 2 greatest quarterbacks of all time.
Oh sure, definitely.
And really, no quarterback would have beat the Seahawks the way they were playing.
I don't think I agree. I don't think any team would have. It was just for the Seahawks. It was a perfect storm of that.
They can't guard anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was insane. They just ran him over, but they could have. They could have put up a better fight, man. I mean,
Demaryius Thomas has the record for catches in a Super Bowl now. If anyone cares,
garbage time is great.
Hey,
he was trying.
Hey, that saved my fantasy football team at time this year.
Yeah. Didn't help you in the end, though.
Hey now.
Yeah, that's the one thing, man. If I'm watching a playoff game or a Super Bowl or something, I don't want to see a blowout.
No, I know. Yeah, for the casual fan perspective and the football fan, you just want to see a good game. But Seattle was just so much better than Denver.
Man,
I kind of had it it was weird too because I think I'm not sure if I mentioned this before, but just leading into the Super Bowl, going into the 2 weeks leading up, so I'm like, this is gonna be a great game. And then that day, as the game got closer, I just had a weird feeling something was it was gonna be like a blowout one way or the other. I just had that weird feeling.
You know, most people were like, "Oh man, Denver's got this." Everybody I talked to, Denver. I was like,
I picked Denver to win, but just I don't know, I really didn't have a rooting interest either way. But I just had a weird feeling that hour before the game that one team was just gonna blow the other team out.
A bunch of animals, they asked a bunch of animals which team they would pick. All of them picked Seahawks, pretty much.
Yeah, and I think
they predict earthquakes.
Yeah, and I think we're also part of that why I thought that too was just because I had that weird feeling after the NFC Championship game that one of the all-time great games. There was no way the Super Bowl was gonna top it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of superstitious reasons as to why Seattle was going to smash Denver's face in, but we didn't actually have any statistical reasoning as to why, other than Denver's defense sucks cock. Basically.
But really, in that game,
that wasn't
half,
really no. Yeah.
I didn't think their defense played terribly, all things considered.
No. Seattle's defense just played lights out and forced turnovers and made plays, and they did the snowball effect. They stayed aggressive, and the game just barreled from there.
And in the Super Bowl, Denver's defense, I thought in the first half played better than I thought they would. But when it seemed like Denver never had the ball in the first half.
Denver laid down. That was it. And especially after he threw that pick six, man, that was over.
I think what it was for me. I think it was what I had that feeling. It was after the Percy Harvin kickoff return. That's when I was just before that. I'm I think it was 22-0 before then. So I'm 3-score game. Weird things happen.
Yeah.
After that, I'm
I mean, it's bad. First play of the game, safety, boom.
And really that really kind of something I thought about was why is Peyton trying to do checks at the line the first play of the game?
It happens. That's just the first play though. I was watching. I only saw maybe I saw at first maybe 5 minutes, up to 5-0. I'm seeing I'm seeing Demaryius Thomas trying to run around, then Cam Chancellor just steamrolls him. And I know what kind of game it's going to be.
Yeah, Cam Chancellor played the game of his life in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean,
but really there's all those debates you saw online and amongst analysts over player X, Y, or Z should have been the MVP, but really it was hard to pick one most valuable player in that game with the Seahawks.
Well, who do you think would be your pick for the most valuable player on the Seahawks?
For the Super Bowl or
for the Super Bowl.
Oh. I personally my vote would probably went to Cam Chancellor just because the plays he made they all significantly altered the game. His interception, I think he tipped the pass that Malcolm Smith caught that was the pick six, and just the plays he made on the ball were just more impactful than other stuff than other players, I felt.
Yeah, definitely.
I didn't see the entire game, but from what I saw, that's my guy right there. That's what I would have chosen. But hey, if you score in the Super Bowl, you're getting Super Bowl MVP. If you're a defensive player, it's just gonna happen.
Yeah, it's pretty much. Yeah, that's kind of just
like James Harrison, a few years ago.
Yeah, he really moved the ball, man. For sure.
Yeah. And then it takes a defensive touchdown to basically that's what it would take for a non-quarterback to win defensive MVP or Super Bowl MVP, it seems.
Yeah, they might have gave it to Percy Harvin or something. If not for that return, probably would just give it to Percy Harvin instead of giving Cam his due.
Oh yeah. So what do you think Denver has to do to clean up their act for next season?
I think if they played a rematch, it'd be a lot closer. Honestly, they have the team.
Right.
Yeah. I think what they would need to do would just be probably just upgrades in the secondary, because it's the second playoff loss in a row where just Champ Bailey looked like a shell of himself. And then just when Chris Harris, their nickel corner, went down, their secondary fell apart.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. Like I said, they just laid down, man.
Yeah,
pretty sad. I mean, they put up so many points this season, so many great games. Oh man, But again, like their defense was hurting pretty bad. I mean, they had a couple injuries going into it too. But yeah.
And then that game too, that just I think just showed how good the Seattle defensive line was, because I think it was the game before, it was in the AFC Championship game. I don't think Peyton got hit once, and then he was just getting, that offensive line was getting manhandled.
Yeah, he got run over.
Got bullied. And hey, Chris is back.
Oh. Welcome back, Chris Jester.
Hey. Friggin' technical difficulties, man.
Technology for the win.
I love technology. Sorry about that, guys. All right. What are we talking about?
We randomly talked Super Bowl.
Yeah, we were just kind of tap dancing about the Super Bowl, until you came back.
All right. That's probably the smartest way to go.
Only football we can find.
Even when the off season comes and we're just like scrambling, like, can we just like repeat talking about the last game that happened because I don't want football to go away?
Football should just be played all season long, all year long.
They just substitute in Canadian Football League guys and stuff so that everybody doesn't die.
I've actually tried getting into the CFL. It's interesting,
It's a lot different.
Yeah, like I was watching a CFL game. I think it was last summer. The whole time I'm like, what the hell's going on? It was so confusing.
Yeah. You guys remember the XFL?
Oh God, that was awesome. I hate it.
Oh, it needs to come back.
Was there like no kickoffs? They just like threw the ball down the field.
Cheerleaders, though. Woo!
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I wish I didn't go bankrupt, man. We need some of that.
The XFL ruled.
Yeah, wasn't it like let's go like in the spring too? Like it would have been like right now if they were still having those seasons.
Yeah, I think they started right around, like a little bit after the Super Bowl.
We'd be having XFL talk.
I miss NFL Europe. That was really cool. They had like a few teams and like some really good players came out of NFL Europe. Adam Vinatieri, Jake Delhomme.
Yeah.
Like it was pretty cool. Like it was nice to have like some like lower level teams, but like it was like an NFL stage.
Yeah, and then there wasn't there that secondary football league like Pac-Man Jones played in? There was like 6 games in November or something like that folded.
Yeah, they
Arena Football League.
It was like I don't know what it was. It was like the
UFL.
That sounds about right. Yeah, it was like something like that. And the United Football League. I think
there's the UFL, the AFL. Oh, okay. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of different leagues.
There can only be one. It seems.
Yeah.
Like arena football is actually kind of it's like if you understand that it's a lesser brand of football, it's fun to watch.
Yeah, it seems really fun. A lot of people like going to the games. You can like actually take the ball out of the player's hands.
Yeah. Like I've actually like because here in the Northwest there's like 5 arena football teams it seems like, and I've been to arena football games and they're really they're fun to be at live.
Yeah.
They
They just don't get a lot of coverage.
They don't. Like I know they I think it was during the lockout. I remember I think it was on Fridays or Saturdays the NFL Network actually would play like arena football games. That was kind of cool.
That's really cool of them, yeah, for sure. All right. Is there any other like sports news that happened this week that you guys want to talk about that we didn't cover? Anything like little or big happen?
Barry Bonds got a job in baseball.
Yeah.
What?
He is a special instructor to the hitters on the San Francisco Giants.
Oh, good for him.
Instruct them how to take
NFL Combine is going on this weekend.
Instruct him how to be the all-time home run hitter.
Oh, the NFL Combines this weekend. Yeah, nice. We'll probably talk about that on the next show. We'll probably talk about some of the, top prospects if they busted there.
Yeah, I was just looking at some of some of the line because the linemen went today. I was looking at some of the numbers. Like Greg Robinson, the tackle from Auburn, ran like a 4.8 40 or something like that.
That's pretty fast.
Yeah, then Taylor Lewan from Michigan ran a sub-5, so that's something to.
I think the fastest guy was a tight end.
At least linemen don't have to run that much, so it's good.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Well, they got to chase around defensive linemen who also run 4.8s.
You got to run down there on that no huddle.
Yeah, that too. That's a jog.
It's a brisk walk.
Yeah.
Depends on how much time's left in the game. It may not be a brisk walk. Got Eli Manning screaming at you, "Get the fuck down there! We're gonna snap the ball."
It also depends on the play before, if Demaryius Thomas catches a 45-yard, post route. That's a little bit more fast than a 3-yard run.
Right.
Yeah, and that play, Demaryius Thomas comes out. So yeah.
All right, well, I think we're going to wrap it up. Shortest show, like an hour. It's not bad. If anybody's got anything they want to plug, we'll start with you, Josh.
Just my Twitter, twitter.com/Gomez_time76.
All right, cool. Craig?
Hey, yeah, sure. Check me out on Facebook if you want to talk to me. Craig Kellerman on Facebook, or you could check me out on Twitter as well. Craig Kells at Twitter. And I also do another show on Thursday nights, Geek Speak. We are live on Mega Powers Radio at 8 p.m. Eastern. So definitely check that out. Check us out here Saturday nights. And yeah, I'll throw it back to you, Chris.
All right, cool. Manny, you got anything you want to plug?
Not really.
No, you're good?
Yeah.
That's fairly normal for someone on the first time on the show. They usually don't have anything they want to plug, but when you're Craig and you're doing like 3,000 shows and everything, and get some stuff you want to throw out there.
Media master over here.
Yeah. All right. Well, follow us on Twitter at Sport Talk Weekly. Like the Facebook page, facebook.com/sportstalkweekly. If you play the Pokemon trading card game, if you're interested in Pokemon, it's been around for a long time. Some people still are, some people aren't. Check out arollofthedice.net. I'm writing for them now. My friend Andrew Zavala started the site. I put an article up a couple days ago. It's a really cool site. A lot of good free content out there for anybody who's interested in checking it out. Doesn't want to get a 6 Prizes Underground membership or anything. Check out Fanboys Anonymous. I've written for them before. My friend Anthony Mango runs it. Really cool site for anything nerdy you want to check out. It's on there. Thanks for watching this week, and please tune in next week. We'll probably have some more interesting stuff for you covered. Hopefully it'll be less of a draining sports week. This week there wasn't a lot going on, so hopefully some better stuff going on next week. Or we'll have some more information on the Ray Rice situation, hopefully, or some combine talk. But
or just randomly bring up the Super Bowl again.
Or we'll just talk about the Super Bowl for 3 out of 4 weeks. Why not?
Hey, random NFL news. The league is expected to adopt a rule where players are penalized 15 yards for racism.
Oh. That's
these games will never end.
I hope you're
Riley
kidding.
Cooper.
I hope
number one receiver.
And what constitutes as racism?
I think the N-word.
Okay.
I think just
right.
actually.
Thanks to our one caller who wasn't a troll who called in. We hope you call in again next week. You guys are watching the show and you want to encourage your friends to call in. The number is 760-512-7247. It'll be shared in any post you see on Facebook or Twitter. Just keep following us. Thanks for supporting us, and we'll be here every week. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Take it easy.